We have this Ranger here that needs to have the door replaced. It's got some damage on this door from an accident. We're going to replace it, paint it, and install it start to finish, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So this is the door here. The first thing we need to do is we need to strip off all these trim pieces. We're going to paint the hinges here, but we're going to strip off all the plastic pieces, the trim around the window, because we're going to refinish the inside of this door first before we install it. We're going to put base on it and clear coat, and then we'll install the door. Okay, so we got this door all stripped down, but now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use 320 grit sandpaper and sand this to prep it up for paint. We're going to machine sand all the chips and scratches on it, and then go over the rest of it with 320 to get it ready for paint. Okay, so now this is all ready. We're gonna go ahead, tape up what needs to be masked off. Like this rubber seal here, we have to pull out the window to get this out. So we're just gonna tape it up because we're just doing the inside of this door at this point. So he's got it all scuffed and sanded. We're gonna get ready. We're gonna base it in white first because it's a darker color. So I'm gonna put a base coat of white on it, and then we'll go ahead and spray the red on. Probably 3 coats of red or until it's covered, and then we'll clear it. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna lay our first coat of clear on it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a dusting coat of clear over this, kind of a medium coat, and then we'll go over it with the flow coat, the heavier coat, to slick it out. So as far as my gun setting, I set it at 25 PSI, turned my volume just a tad, about 2 turns out, just so I could lay this on there and it still flow out nicely and not have a lot of overspray everywhere. Okay, so now that we've got the underside of this door painted, it's cured, it's the next day, we're going to remove this door handle, we're going to prep out the rest of the outer skin for paint, and what we need to do there is to machine sand it with 320 grit sandpaper. That's going to be coarse enough for the paint to stick properly, but not leave scratches. So Darius is using the DA to sand this out with 320. He's looking for any chips or scratches to machine sand out so they don't show up underneath the paint. Okay, so while Darius is getting that door sanded, we're going to strip down this door, remove the door panel, all the components I need for the new door. We're going to strip out the wiring harness from the door because we're going to use that in the new door. So let's get started. Okay, so now we have this door all prepped out for paint. We hung the door, lined everything up, all the gaps look good, removed all the trim pieces. Now, we did break through right here a little bit and into the bare metal, so we're gonna put a little bit of self-etching primer on here. And what that's gonna do is it's going to allow the paint to stick to this metal. You need to cover metal with a self-etching primer. A primer that's made to go over bare metal. Put a little over this as well. let that dry and we'll put another coat over it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to mask this off. We already have it covered in plastic, so we're going to cut out a pattern for the door, where the door goes, and then tape it off. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're running a piece of tape along this door edge so it overlaps the rest of the vehicle, and then we'll tape the plastic down to it, and that'll get everything covered. And then we'll cover up this window, tape it up, and get to spraying. Okay, so for the most part, this door is ready to paint. We're just finished up taping behind the window. Darius is inside, taping the bottom and the edge around that window. Now, on this particular truck, we are just painting this door. We're not doing any blending. We're not blending into the fender, and we're not blending into the quarter panel. The customer did not want it. They were okay with it. I don't like doing this because the color is not going to match. Anytime you paint right up against another panel, if you do not blend it, the color will be off. I mean, 99.9% of the time, it's not going to match. So we're going to see. He's okay with it. It's an older truck. He just wants it the same color. So we're going to do what the customer wants. I'm going to try and get as close as I can, though. So we've put some self-etching primer on these areas on the door. We just need to lightly scuff those before we apply the paint. We are going to base this in white again because it's a darker color, and red is a very transparent color. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll tack rag this off, and we'll put our first coat of white on it. So the tack rag is used to remove any dust or particles that have accumulated on the door, and usually you want to tack rag it off right before you spray. Okay, so now we're going to put the first coat of white on this. I'm not going to put a real heavy coat on because it's a little bit of a colder day. I've already tack ragged it off, and we'll just get it covered well so the red covers this blue nicely. So the gun I'm using here is the EuroPro HE. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description or at the end of this video. Okay, so now we're going to spray the red on. I've switched guns. I'm using the Astro Pneumatic EuroPro EVOT 13. This is the 1.3 tip. If you haven't seen the video review and demo on this gun, check it out. It'll be at the end of this. This is a budget gun, right around $100, and it's a really nice gun for the money. I am spraying this gun at 28 psi. The volume is 2.5 turns out. The transfer efficiency is really good. There's not a lot of overspray. Of course, when you're spraying, you want to have consistent passes. You want to overlap, about 70% overlap on your spray pattern. Stay about 4 to 5 inches away from the panel. Keep your spray pattern parallel with the panel. And this will give you the best results and finished product. Of course, the settings I'm using are just a baseline. You want to evaluate the paint as you're spraying and adjust from there. Every situation is going to be different. The conditions are going to be different, the temperature and environment. So keep that in mind when you're spraying. Okay, so I'm just putting the final coat of red down just to make sure everything's covered. There's no transparent areas, and we're going to have a good base for clear. Okay, so now it's time for clear. My settings are going to be about the same, 28 psi on the air pressure. We're going to go 2.5 turns out on the volume. Of course, those settings are just a baseline. They could change depending on your situation, how you spray. I spray usually about 3 to 4 inches away from the panel, so that could be different than how you spray. I would recommend to start off at 4 to 5 inches away from the panel. Of course, you want to overlap about 70%. Keep your distance uniform as you're making your passes and overlap 70%. And this will give you a nice high gloss level finish that looks great. A few more little tips if you're new to spray painting. You never want to stop spraying on a panel. You never want to start spraying on a panel. You start spraying off the panel and move on to the panel, and then you stop off or run right off the panel. So if you follow these tips and have a consistent speed, a consistent medium speed, you don't want to go too slow and you don't want to go too fast that the material's not getting on the panel. If you do these things, you're not going to have any problems with runs or heavy orange peel. Okay, so now I'm just touching the paper to see if it's tacked up enough to put the second coat and the flow coat on. You don't want it to be stringy. If you touch it and there's strings coming off of it, then it's still curing. Let it cure a little bit longer and then spray your flow coat. One thing I wanted to mention, a tip, that is if you are a beginner painter, don't be timid when you start spraying. Be cautious, but when you commit to making a pass, commit to making that pass. Don't stop in the middle of it. Don't slow down. Use a nice uniform speed. Overlap the right amount, about 70%, and you'll get a nice finish. I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with how this gun performed. It laid out a beautiful finish. And here's the finished product, and as you can see, the paint job looks beautiful. The gun performed very well. The color's just a tad off, but you can't really see it in this video, but it is a little bit off. But I just want to say that gun performed well. So do yourself a favor, click on this video now and check out the review on the EVO T13. We'll see you next time.